So today, we're going to take a look at a really fascinating nonprofit that has this, well, it's a powerful and kind of counterintuitive approach to service. We are diving deep into the unique culture of an organization called My Culture Connect.
But let me start with a question for you. Have you ever gone way out of your way to help someone, a friend, a coworker? You put in all this effort, and the reaction just fell flat. It wasn't what you were hoping for. Maybe you even felt a little let down, a little resentful. Yeah, it's a feeling a lot of us know all too well.
But what if that feeling of disappointment isn't really their fault, or even yours? What if it's just baked into the way we've been taught to think about helping? Well, a nonprofit over in Taiwan has a pretty radical answer to this, and it changes everything about how they operate. Okay, so let's meet this organization. They're called My Culture Connect, or MCC for short. They're a nonprofit education association based out of Changhua County in Taiwan, and they work really closely with the local schools there. Now, on the surface, what they do seems pretty straightforward, right? They run professional development workshops for teachers, they produce educational videos, they help schools build out their bilingual websites, and they even help them find international partner schools. All incredibly useful stuff.
But honestly, if we stop there, we'd be missing the whole story. Because what makes My Culture Connect so special isn't that list of services. It's the philosophy, the culture behind why they do it. And it all starts with tackling a really common problem.
And that problem, we can call it the trap of the ego. It's this really subtle but powerful psychological pitfall that can actually poison the very act of service. You see, a lot of us, without even thinking about it, we fall into this mindset. I'm the giver, you're the receiver. I'm here to help you. It sounds harmless, but that thought immediately creates a hierarchy, right? It puts the helper just a little bit above the person being helped. And once you have that hierarchy, you get expectations. Expectations for gratitude, for appreciation, for a certain result. And that right there is the trap that sets us up for disappointment. The philosophy at MCC is really direct about this. They say that this idea that you're somehow better or more skilled, which is often what fuels that desire to fix a problem, that's what creates ego. And an ego that depends on how other people react, well, that's a recipe for a very unhappy life. So how do you get out of the trap? Well, MCC's whole culture is built on two main pillars. And the first one completely flips the script on the entire purpose of service. It's all about finding growth through gratitude. And this is the game changer. At My Culture Connect, the #1 goal of any activity isn't to change somebody else or solve their problem. The real goal is to challenge and grow yourself. The fact that other people get helped along the way, that's just a wonderful, happy byproduct. It's not the main objective.
So what does this look like in practice? It's kind of a 4-step mental shift. First, you spot a chance to contribute. But then, step 2, instead of feeling superior, you feel genuine gratitude for being given this opportunity to learn and use your skills. Third, your focus turns inward. What can I learn from this? How can I grow? And finally, because your goal is internal growth, you totally let go of the outcome. You're not attached to it anymore.
This whole process creates this deep sense of humility. When you walk into a school feeling grateful for the chance they're giving you, your ego just naturally shrinks. And what happens then? The help you're offering is received so much more openly. It's actually welcomed.
Okay, so that brings us to the second pillar, which really builds on that first one. This is all about giving without expectation. And man, does it fly in the face of how most of the world works.
Just think about your typical corporate job, right? It's all driven by KPIs, key performance indicators. There is so much pressure to hit targets, to get results. You do the work to get the reward, the bonus, the promotion. And look, that can work, but we all know it also creates a ton of pressure and leads to burnout. My Culture Connect just operates on a totally different wavelength. It's captured perfectly in this quote. They don't set targets for how many workshops they need to run. They take on a project because doing the work in that moment is meaningful all by itself. And this leads to something they call organic growth. See, success for them isn't something you chase with aggressive goals or sales figures. It's something that just happens, naturally, as a result of doing good, meaningful work day in and day out, without some hidden agenda. The organization doesn't have to force its growth, it just blossoms. So, you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds very nice and noble, but does it actually work? What are the real-world results of building an entire organization on this kind of culture?
Well, first, there's a huge personal win for everyone at MCC. Since their happiness doesn't ride on getting a pat on the back or seeing a specific outcome, their emotional state isn't this constant roller coaster. Their mood isn't tied to someone else's reaction, and that lets them work with way more consistency, more resilience, and honestly, a lot more joy.
And the external result of all this? This might just be the most powerful outcome of all. By focusing inward on their own growth and doing meaningful work, MCC has earned the one thing you can never force or buy: genuine trust. The number of schools in their community that now put their complete faith in My Culture Connect, it's basically countless.
So that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. What if we've been looking at the whole idea of giving and service all wrong? What if the real, world-changing power of giving isn't about the impact we have on others, but about the incredible changes it can spark inside of ourselves?